Arrogance of the Americans, the bulliness of the Americans. Let me even throw it on the west side. America right now comes to Tanzania, comes to Ghana, comes to Zambia with 16 million. And guess what? 16 million only for Zambia. The 16 million, ask me, what is it for?
What is it for?
For human rights.
Let me be clear about where we stand. First of all, for the American press who are here, you know that a great deal of work in my career has been to address human rights issues, equality issues across the board, including as it relates to the LGBT community. And I feel very strongly about the importance of supporting the freedom and supporting and fighting for equality.
Welcome back. Many African countries are now realizing what is happening and they are pushing back to the West. I came across this video from this man from South Africa. He actually spoke up about Kamala Harris recently. She visited some countries in Africa. I don't know if you have seen this. I'll play these videos, then I'll give my commentary after the clip. If you have not subscribed, please endeavor to do that. And if possible, why not share this clip?
America right now comes to Tanzania, comes to Ghana, comes to Zambia with 16 million. And guess what? 16 million only for Zambia. The 16 million, ask me, what is it for?
What is it for?
For human rights. Across the river, China and Russia coming to South Africa, ask me for what?
For what?
For a military training and skills sharing of security. So the Americans are more interested in a transgender around the world. They will invest their money and give you money to protect human rights. Russia and China are coming with weapons and militarization strategies so that we can protect ourselves. So I want to say this very loud and clear to the Americans. Continue on your transgender agenda. Stay there. Leave us to do politics on the other side. Because what we need right now is not a minority human rights activation. What we need is a societal transformation. And for you as Americans to think that we really envy that when you have an anti-lesbian, anti-gay, LGBT principle, then tourists would drop. Let me correct that once and for all, Smooth. And cut and clip this, and it must be loud and clear. Are you saying to me that all the tourists are gay? And when you hear that this is a non-gay zone, tourism will suffer? Question number one. Question number two, are you saying that we don't have a right to expressing ourselves as Africans? Question number three, if democracy means majority rules and majority votes against a principle, then why won't you allow that to become law? Are you saying the minority must manage the majority or the majority must manage the minority? Then if that whole ideology is wrong, then take democracy in a nice black dustbin bag and throw it outside. Because what you are telling us is by the people, for the people, with the people, and all those slogans you hear, what democracy represents. If we are 10 in the room and 9 people say no, and one person says yes, democracy says you go with the majority?
Yes, I don't want to look at this video because I'm an African. I want to speak up just like I've been doing on other videos. When you take a look at this man, he actually speaks the truth. But there is one thing that he is not understanding. He made it in such a way that you will look at it like America in general. It's not everyone in the United States that is for this, who is advocating for this. We all know Democrats are advocating for this. Republicans are not into this. So you see the difference. Though I understand if the leader of your country is standing up for something, if someone wants to speak up against that, if somebody wants to speak up for that, the person would take up the situation as a general issue. Recently, Kamala Harris had a trip into Ghana, Zambia, where some of these things happened, distributed money to these organizations. China is in Africa for a very long time. They are borrowing money to most African countries, helping Africans, training. Russia is there training them in the military. But the United States is coming to advocate for this. This has been an issue And Africans are pushing back, especially some countries. Like I recently saw what happened in Uganda. The Joe administration is even threatening to sanction them because they voted to stand against the LGBT agenda. So you will see exactly how they want to do it. If you are not into what we believe in, we will sanction you. That is how these people are doing. She went to Ghana, talked about this same issue, the LGBT agenda. The president of Ghana was very optimistic in even answering some of these questions.
Yes, democracy says you go with the majority. So if we say we want to make Africa democratic, and the demographics of our democracy says no, then why do you philosophically want to manipulate the will of the majority to favor the will of the minority? Then this is where it really gets confusing to me. Because you're selling me one thing on one. I understand this democracy because it is based on the principle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When it comes to practice, no, you can't practice it like that. Then what do you want? Do you want democracy? You want anarchy? You want indigenous governance systems? You want meritocracy? Maybe let's find another way of governing ourselves. But the ideology of democracy being founded on majority rule does not count. Because the rule that runs the South African constitution right now is not majority count. I will go on record for being on your show and saying it loud and clear without mixing words. Put 100 people on an island and lock them away from everybody. Put 100 people on an island who are heterosexual. Those are homo. Come back after 50 or 20 or 30 years. On that island, you'll find graves with no living being there. On this island, you'll find 10,000 people growing and exploring and moving. So having said that, we as a society, particularly as African society, we also as traditional people have a right to our self-preservation.
You know, when I watch someone that is intelligent, I don't even need to doubt this man is having a lot of knowledge pertaining to this subject. If you see what is happening in most African countries, you'll be shocked. What China is doing and Russia. I recently saw one South African politician even inviting the president of Russia to visit. They should feel free because they are actually siding with these people. At first, it wasn't like this. This is to tell you what Joe has caused within a very short period of time. When Obama came in, the same thing.
Let me be clear about where we stand. First of all, for the American press